Hi everyone, this is Diane. I was asked about my Cricut cartridges. Someone said that they would love to see what cartridges I have, and I decided I wanted to make something with my Cricut or for the Swan journals. Now I have not used my Cricut, either one of them, since I moved, and I moved in June, and this is the middle of March. So I'm hoping everything will go well. In context, this is my workspace. And right over here is this desk. That's one of those desks that moves up and down. But I don't think I have it plugged in because I don't move it up and down. And I usually have this little Cricut sitting here, turned sideways. And then I have my baskets of dies sitting here. And then my Cricut or my Big Shot sitting here. I move them all to my packing table to make space for my Cricuts. So I pulled this up. There is a box built into the wall back here, and this has been sitting on top of that box, and I had to brush the dust off it, but I got it up here and I plugged it in. Here are my mats. I do want to have them hanging on the wall, but I haven't done that yet. And here are my drawers in which I keep my Big Shot and Cricut things. So my Cricut cartridges are all the way down here. So these are the books, these are the cartridges. I'm going to get all of these up onto the table. I will put my camera on my tripod. I moved my light that's usually next to my desk. I moved it over here. So I'm going to get all set up, and then we're going to talk about Cricut. And then I'm going to attempt to make some swan tags. Okay, many of you may have noticed that these are old school Cricuts. This is the only kind of Cricut I know how to use. My husband bought me the large one years ago, before I even knew I wanted a Cricut. I didn't think I wanted one because I thought they were cool. I knew what they were. And I knew they were expensive. And I thought, I don't need one. I'm not going to ask for one. I'm never going to get one. And apparently Joann's had a good Black Friday sale one Christmas, so he bought it for me. And I was so surprised and delighted, and I used it a lot, especially when I was making smash books. I used it a lot. And I have all of these books, and each of those books comes with a cartridge. So now there are digital ones, and you have to do it with an app and on a phone or a computer or something. It's a long story. I tried doing that because all of a sudden this one quit working one day. Just wouldn't work anymore. It wouldn't even turn on. And so I went to buy a new one, and you couldn't buy this kind anymore. It was all the digital ones. And so I bought one, and I couldn't figure it out. And a friend that I worked with came over. She had one, and she was going to help me. But the internet was down that day, so we got nowhere. And I just never, ever, ever figured it out. I thought, that's just too much for me. So I found this one on Facebook Marketplace. And I met the person in a local parking lot and bought it from her. So this is obviously a small one, but it worked for a lot of the things that I do for my junk journals. And then one day I decided to try this before I got rid of it. Just plugged it in and turned it on, and it worked. So I did turn it on before I started the video, so I know it turns on. But before, I can't close that. This is supposed to pop open when I turn the power on, but it didn't. So I had to pry it open, and I don't want to close it again. I just used my fingers. So let's talk about the cartridges, because someone was interested in seeing what cartridges I have. The best way to show you is with the books, because with the cartridge, this is all you see. And you'll see me use this when I go to make a tag. So these are the cartridges that I have. This is one of my favorite. Tags, bags, boxes, and more. And I'm not going to look through all of the books with you, but It has different shapes of tags, and and these long skinny tags, if you've seen me use those in my journals, this is where I get them from. Library pockets. So this is a really great one for, and then it has some 3D boxes, which I never make. But this is a great one for junk journals. So that's one of my favorites. And they come with these pieces too, which I will show you. So I keep that layover piece right inside my book. And there's a lot of languages. It has all the stuff written in many languages. So I usually paper clip it to the first page with the design, so I don't have to flip through all of that stuff. So, okay, so this one is Fabulous Finds, which is another of my favorites. These are my two favorite junk journal Cricut cartridges. This one lost its paper clip, but I put this right in that page, so that helps. So this has labels, different shapes, with or without holes. Clipboard. Lots of label shapes. And luggage tags. Tabs. And I like this pocket too. I've used this often in my junk journals. Maybe you've seen this. It has the hole in it and then two little notches, and then cards fit in there with the little circles to fit in the notches. That's a fun one to use. Little booklets, but they have a spine, a folded spine part. This one I do use not as frequently. So I used to make, when I first got these, I used to make some of these pieces that are, you have to cut out all these pieces in different colors and glue them together. I don't do that so much now. I want something simpler. I will glue 3 or 4 layers, but I don't want to do much more than that. But like this one has a cat, and I know I made the cat, and I think I made the nesting doll before. But this one has some pretty flowers and alphabet letters, real pretty ones. So this one I would do, because you would do that in one color and this in another color, glue them together, and then you would see this color through the little holes that are cut. So it does make a pretty piece. And then there are frames that you can make, and then you layer a piece on top of it to give color to it. The frames are real pretty. I'll try to go through these quickly. This is Planton's School Book. So this one has tags and a basic alphabet and numbers. It's a pretty basic one. I think the original Cricuts used to come with this. This might have been one of the original sets or cartridges. Has some flowers, some things teachers would use. Life's a Party. This is kind of fun, but what I use this for the most is to just make a plain circle. So I have to figure out the dimension that I want the circle to be, and this was the cartridge I had that I could do a plain circle with. And I've probably made other things out of it. Damask Decor is a nice one because it has a lot of these fancy shapes and designs, but what I use the most are the tags in the back. On most of each design page, there's a tag. There's a couple of different shapes, but like this is the same shape as this one, but it cuts a different design in there. So yeah. And this one is a square tag. So that's what I use that one for mostly. I'm gonna shut my door because the furnace is coming on. Ornamental iron is one of the newer ones that I got. And I haven't used it much, but I have used it a little, and I should play around with it. It's got some really fun designs that I could use in journals. Borders, making tags. Paisley is like a little girl's design. It has purses and shoes and little monkeys, animals. I've used it though I did little girls journals, so Paisley, and it's got you know, cards and words. I made little girls smash books, so I use this cartridge in that, but I've used it for other things also. It's got mushrooms, little animals. That's a cute one. Storybook. I've used this for, I think, flowers. And the letters are quite pretty, the shape of the letters. But these pretty designs. And you can make corners, and sometimes I've just used it to make the base shape. And you can layer an intricate shape on top of it, but I've just used it for the base shape. But I have a lot of dies to do this now. But this top note shape, I used to make that quite a bit. Winter Woodland is a nice one. I did make some trees and things like that, snowflakes for winter or Christmas themed journals. But again, the basic shapes in the back for the background. You don't have to layer things on top, but I know I used the trees and this shape, and I used the branches for something. I made this before. And it's got some winter words. Designer's calendar is just what it says. It's got days of the week and months of the year and symbols to go with each of the holidays on that calendar year or month. You know what I'm saying. So it's got all the basic holiday type of symbols or seasonal type of symbols. I don't use that one very much. This is just the Cricut Classic font. So it's just a basic alphabet, and it has the other punctuation and characters that you would see on a typewriter and stuff. Parentheses and some words and some flowers. This one I have used quite a bit. This is one of the less expensive ones that they used to make, and it didn't have doesn't have a book. It just has this. So they're more basic. It's 2 layers. So it just makes these fun gingerbread designs. And I've used that quite a bit. George and Basic Shapes. I don't know if I've even used this. I think some of these more basic ones I got in a bundle somewhere. So we have to, that's a thick book that leads up to the first page. So it's numbers and with the shapes, like the oval with a number cut into it, this little sign with a number cut into it. I don't know if I've ever cut anything out of this, but it does have some tags. I probably tried out the tags. Sophisticated is a pretty nice one. You can get a lot of different tag designs. I think this might be the one that has the tags in the back of the book. It does have some pretty shapes. Like I've made this and this. I made quite a few of those. And the corners you can make. Maybe this doesn't have the tags. But it's got some nice, pretty designs. Picturesque is where I'm going to get my swan. See, right there. I've used this a lot because you can get all these nice shapes that are kind of, they're not so intricate. This one looks intricate, but it's kind of big design, not real tiny. So you can get, you cut out your basic, this is the one that has the tags in the back. So these are the tag shapes, and you have to select the tag shape that matches the tag you want to make. But I just cut them plain. But I will do swans. I can cut out the swans and make tags and just an image and a corner. So we'll do some swan stuff. I'm going to set this right there. Elegant Edges is another of the newer ones. Now, when I say newer, it's been many years since I bought any because they don't make these cartridges anymore. But I love this one. This one has so many fun ideas, fun things to make that are pretty simple, which is what I look for. I don't want to layer 8 different layers. So I want to use this more. I have used it. I want to do it more. Suburbia is a fun one. I used this a lot. So this is like retro 50s designs. I've made the silhouette ladies. And it has the font, some accessories. I've made the ladies in aprons for my cookbooks. Purse, telephones. I've made all of these, not all of these things, but the things that I'm naming. I made a lot of the kitchen items, like the mixer and the stove. I've made the umbrella girl. And I've made this lady a lot in the casserole dish. We've got typewriters and a man in a business suit in different poses. And then we've got some teenagers too in the back. I've made the girl on the phone. So these are fun. Suburbia. This is a great one to use. This is another one that was more simple and not very expensive. So you have these different basic pennant shapes, triangle, and this shield shape and the curve, and then this shield shape. And then you have layers to go on top of each of those shapes. And they go with different holidays and different kinds of designs. So I've used a lot of those. From My Kitchen is another one that I used to use a lot because it has a lot of kitchen things, as you would guess from the title. It has recipe cards and just a lot of food items and utensils that you would use, and salt and pepper ingredients and appliances and things like that. This is another one that it's just a little one. I think I did buy this in a store when they were just about done selling these things. And it's just small talk frames and tags. And this is a really fun one. As you can guess, frames and tags would be a great one for junk journals. Paper lace is a very pretty one, and I have used this. I made some of these for mid-century designs. Art Nouveau is pretty. I love Art Nouveau, but this one is more intricate. So I haven't done much with it. I didn't like, that would take a lot of layering. But I did use some of it. And Fontopia is the same way. It's kind of like a scholastic, what do you call, the Ivy School type of designs, which I think is really cool. I love it. But again, it's a more intricate layered thing. Happy Hauntings is Halloween designs, which I used when I used to make Halloween smash books. And Florals Embellished has like a Mother's Day look to it, and it has a lot of mom phrases, but really pretty designs that you could use and the shapes behind them. So that is my cartridge collection. There's all the books. Now I have a backache from standing there and showing them to you. I got out all of my pastel 12 by 12 cardstock because I can put 12 by 12 in the big one. I want to try the big one first. I'll just move this over here and move this down here. And you have to have space behind the machine for the paper to come out the back, so hopefully you can see this well enough. Now the swans are on the Picturesque cartridge, so I just have to find the Picturesque cartridge. I should have had that pulled out. There it is. So I'm gonna turn the power on. This is a thing to help lift things off of the sticky mat, and these are new blades if I need them. You do have to change the blades pretty frequently, especially if you're doing intricate things. So on the, I think you can see it. I don't want to knock this one off. There's a plug right here to put this in. And this doesn't stand up anymore. Well, it is a little bit. So it knows the cartridge that is in there, and it says slide mat. I don't think I want to use a brand new mat because they are super sticky, and I've destroyed things trying to get paper off of the sticky mat. But I think this one has the right amount of stick to it. Okay, so I've got my mat ready, I've got my cartridge plugged in, and I'll put this on top of the keys. So the cartridge tells the machine what each of these buttons means. And it has different things to change up here. Like I can, if I want to make a whole bunch of one shape, I can choose quantity, and I can put autofill, so it knows the size of the paper, and when I put autofill and what size I want to make the image, it knows how many it will cut. So I don't think we'll be doing that today, but I'm just talking about some of the fun features that are here. Also, fit to page. If I had a part of a page, I would bring the needle down to the corner of my page, and then select where is it? Set paper size. That's over here on this keyboard, and then it'll read where it is on the mat, and it will know the dimensions of the paper that I'm cutting. And I want to get as much as I want to make the image as big as I can on that piece of paper. So I click fit to page, and it knows how big to cut it. So there are some really neat features on this. Let's start with just making a swan tag. So I would want a plain tag without the swans, so that I can glue the swans on top of it. So I have to find that. Here it is. This one doesn't say like where to find it, but you can see right here is a tag image. So sometimes you really have to look to make sure you're getting the right piece. But when you select it, it'll show up to you on the screen, and you can say, oh, that's not what I wanted, and change it. All right, so I know where the tag is. I just want this plain tag, and I'm going to cut it in this cream colored cardstock. And since this is a full 12 by 12 sheet, I just wanted a flat surface to press it down. I can start right up in the corner here. So I'm going to load my paper. This button says load paper. And it stops right in that corner. But I can use the arrow buttons here to move this arrow or this blade anywhere I want to. I want the tag, so I'm going to press this button with the tag. And it says tag, and then it shows me the picture. It's at 1.5 inches. I definitely want it to be bigger than 1.5 inches. So the way this is oriented on the page, if I'm remembering correctly, this is the number that I want. If it was up and down, the number I select would give me the width of the tag if it was focused this way. But it's this way, so let's just try it. I'm going to cut it 7 inches. Oh, I'm using this wheel. I don't know if you can see the wheel on the side here. There's a wheel. Okay, it's at 7 inches, it says right there. And I have my tag selected. I don't need to do anything else except press cut. Characters won't fit. So that must mean I was making it 7 inches wide. So let's make it 3.5. There. Oh, it made it pretty long. That's a big tag. Okay, I'm going to make it 3 inches. And that won't fit down here, but the Cricut knows that. So it'll move it up to the top of the page. I have to press tag again. Okay, now before I forget what my measurements are, I'm going to unload the paper. Oh, it didn't cut it. Because I don't have much pressure on it. So I'm going to repeat or load last, which means it'll put the needle, the blade, right where it was. And it still has the memory of where it cut. So I'm going to increase the pressure. I didn't check that. I can change the speed of how fast the needle moves, the blade. I keep calling it a needle. It's a blade. And I can change the pressure. Why isn't it changing the pressure? Oh, it's on the side here. Okay. It's been a long time. Okay. So this wheel here says pressure. Okay. I'm going to put it on maximum pressure. Well, maybe I'll just try high. We're not doing intricate here, so I'll just try high. And I'm going to cut the same image at 3 inches. And hopefully there's space over here. I can use my scissors to cut. I can see the lines, and they're just straight lines. So this is the speed dial, and this is the pressure dial. Yeah, see, that came off nicely. All right, so then, like I said, I will just cut these out with my scissors because I can see the partially cut line. So let's use a pink cardstock to cut the top of the tag. Well, it'd be real handy having that packing table behind me when I do this stuff now. Load the paper. And now I'm going to do the swan design. And there's the swan. So, how do you know which one of all of these designs you're going to get? So this is on the tag. This would be, if I pushed cut, it would cut this. And if I pushed shift and cut, it would cut this one. I think this one goes first. Oh no, this one is shift. It has an S after it, swan S. So this and then this. But if I want to do some of these, there are these buttons right here, tag, corner, framework, etc. So I want to make a tag. I'm going to push that tag button. So tag. So I can either do this one or this one. So just push tag and cut, or push shift and tag and cut. And I'm going to just cut the plain one. So it's set at 3 inches, which is what I need. And I'm just going to pick the swan. I already have the tag selected, and it will show me here. Yep, it's the single swan. So here we go. Cutting the swan out, and then I can use that swan silhouette to make an embellishment. And I will cut another one of those, so I'm going to say repeat last, because I have another this size tag that I need to cut. then I would glue those together. I'm going to have to cut that. It has part of the frame stuck to it, but I'll cut that off. And I can use these silhouettes. So let's say I'm going to cut another couple of those plain tags in the same size, and I want the other tag. So I'm going to put a mint green or a blue. Oops, I touched my dial and changed the size. So I have a mint green on here now. Load paper. I still have tags selected. I'm going to select Swan and Shift. Okay, I don't want that. Clear display. I'm going to push Shift first. It's already pushed. It's purple. There's a purple light there. And I'll push the Shift Swan again. And it says Swan S. So it's giving me the one with two swans facing each other. 3 inches, cut. Do that again. I wanted to have this one ready in case this one didn't want to work for me, but it is working, so I can close that. I do have skinny little pads that go with that, and I don't know if they make these anymore, but I could just cut one of these down. I'm so glad it's working while I'm on camera. And the blade is sharp enough. That one looks like I have to snip something. That one came out clean. I don't know if I would use these silhouettes because the back end of the swan is cut off. But I could, like, put them on the edge of a pocket or something, so I'll save them. When you're doing an intricate cut, you always want to be very careful, or any kind of cut really. Be very careful when you're pulling it off. So I'll have to just do a little snip right there in that corner. Get all these little bits off. So my colors for the swan journals are going to be cream, mint green, pink, and baby blue, and a turquoise. I found a digital kit that I absolutely love, and I will show that to you in the next swan journal video. So I don't have it down here. It's upstairs. I printed it. I'm not even going to tell you what shop I got it from yet. So these could be a swan wing, but I'm not going to do that. So I think what I would like to do is cut out the swan and a silhouette of a swan, okay? So I am going to cut the swan in ivory again. Oh, I think this is more white, but that's good. A white swan is good. Hope I'm not getting my head in the way here. Okay, load the paper. And this might be a little bit of trial and error to get the size right. I'm going to cut the shadow of, no, blackout. I think the shadow would be slightly bigger than the framework, so you would see it all around the frame. I think I want the blackout. So I'm going to change it to, let's see what we get when we cut a 2-inch. No, I think that would be too small. Let's try 3 again. Let's just try the 3. And instead of tag, I'm going to have blackout selected, and the swan again. So this shows 2 pieces. This is the first one, and it shows the beak. So I'm going to change my paper because I want the beak, whoops, I want the beak to be a different color. So instead of just cutting out a tiny little beak and gluing it on, you cut out the whole piece and then glue this piece on top and the beak shows. But it does make it easier and neater. And I think they have a kind of a orange yellow, so I think that's what I'll do. I could have just changed the settings and done the shift, but I figured we'll just do this. We still have the swan with the beak at 3 inches. Let's see how big it is. I think that's going to be a good size. And I'll do 2 of those. I could select quantity and put that on there, but since I'm just doing 2 and not 8, I'll just push the repeat last button. I've been at this for a while. I guess I'll have to do some deleting so I don't have too long of a video. So that's a good size. I could make it bigger to make a bigger pocket. I can come back and do that if I feel like I need to. I think the card, the journal with that greeting card on it, that beautiful greeting card, is going to be a bigger journal, obviously. So I might want a bigger swan. So now I'm going to cut it out in the white without the beak. And then, well, it has the framework right there on the beak. I don't know. I'm going to cut this out, and then I'm going to cut out the framework. And that's probably all I'll do in this video. So now I'm going to hit Shift and Swan. And we have the swan with no beak. Same size, 3 inches. Pretty. Let's see what the framework does to it. Now I do have 2 of these mats, and what I often do when I'm cutting a bunch of things is I get the next mat all set up while the one is cutting. But I haven't thought about doing that this time because it's been so long since I've done this. We're going to cut the outline, or the framework as they call it, in a light blue. So I'll change this button to framework, and I need to, I guess I need to hit Shift. So I see why it has a beak, because it's just the outline of the beak. It looks like the shift one is going to cut the black out, and the other one would cut the shadow size. Let's see. So I'm going to hit shift and swan. And it shows me here when it's done drawing it, or whatever. It's not drawing it, but there it is. This is so pretty, just like that. But with the framework, we'll get the detailing of the feathers and the wing, maybe an eye. Okay, I'm not going to cut out the second one right now because I've got to end this video, and I just want to show you what this looks like. I don't think I've ever made the swan with the framework. I think I've only done the tags. And it's coming off beautifully. It cut it beautifully. Yeah, it doesn't have an eye detail, but it does outline the beak. So this all gets glued together, and we have a beautiful swan, and I could just use it as a decorative piece or make it a little tuck spot. And I might want to make the corner, so you get the corner shape and then an outline or this piece to go on top of it. And that might be all I do here. There's a card, but I don't think I'll do the card. So there you go. Let me know if you would like to see me making more of the elements that I use in journals, like my special tags and all those first two that I showed you that I make a lot of junk journal stuff with, or any of the cartridges. Let me know if you want to watch me making more stuff with the Cricut. I hope you found this useful, and if you have any questions, just leave your questions in the comment section below. Thanks for coming with me today. Have a creative day. Bye.